Item 136, the position of RISE in the City. I call upon councillor Nemeth to propose the motion on the behalf of the Conservative Group as detailed on page 213 of the agenda.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. This notice of motion was written when the outcome of the meeting of Policy and Resources Committee was unclear, before the petition of 30,000 signatures could be submitted, and before campaigner Nicola Benji's attempt to trigger judicial review could be reviewed. We considered whether or not to submit it when there seemed to be so much desire from all quarters to help survivors of domestic violence, and a chance to reverse the decision even seemed possible. As it goes, I'm glad that we have left the notice of motion on the agenda. No meaningful action was taken by the Chair of Audit and Standards Committee, so we won't be getting the gold standard forensic investigation that some of us wanted to see, a subject over which, of course, members of Tourism, Equalities, Communities and Culture Committee have already voted on unanimously to express concern. Policy and Resources Committee passed with little fanfare. The submission of the petition with its quite incredible number of supporters has been and gone, and Nicola Benji's judicial review attempt has been dismissed on the basis that she does not live in a refuge. I read a tweet yesterday written by the CEO of RISE UK that was pretty much the saddest tweet that I'm going to see for some time, and I quote, "Today is a hard day. We will be saying goodbyes to a big part of RISE UK. We'll be celebrating the successes in our 26 years and thanking the staff who are moving on to work with the new providers or to other jobs. A day for reflection, a few tears, some laughs and hope." Now, the RISE issue is concerning as there are expressions of support from all quarters. If we all feel the same way, why is this happening in front of our very eyes? The Labour group, no doubt for what they felt were principled reasons at the time, did take a very different position in 2018 when this matter was taken to NICE committee. I hope that every councillor is aware of this. For all intents and purposes, what has just happened was proposed by the Labour administration of the day, proudly and publicly. I would like to know when this position changed. Key members of the Labour administration of that time are now RISE's most obsessive cheerleaders, yet caused untold stress and anxiety when the first steps to destabilise RISE were taken. RISE, of course, protested in 2018. The troops weren't mobilised to the same degree that they've just been, but ultimately RISE had to fight for its life and those of users of the service. As the opposition spokesman at the time, I was able to speak against this and put the case to my Green counterpart, Councillor Pete West, who shared the same concerns. Conservative and Green groups united to stop RISE from being discarded at NICE committee, and the minutes detail my own concerns as follows. Possible disruption for service users and charities, potential loss of control, loss of opportunity to experiment, and uncertainty regarding costs. All of this has played out. The matter was revisited, the administration listened, it did listen, and the matter was seemingly settled. Again, the minutes are not ambiguous. A cross-party group was to be set up to deal with the question of domestic violence tendering arrangements, which it was assumed would bolster member oversight of the Procurement Advisory Board. The rest is now history. None of what was agreed happened, and the suggestion seems to be that there's no formal system in place within the council to ensure that the outcomes of votes, so resolutions at full council, committees and member working groups, are carried out. I was shocked to hear this. It strikes me that such a mechanism should be a fundamental part of the workings of an organisation like ours, and this issue alone requires great investigation. Blaming officers, though, and the past chair of NICE committee, who's not here to defend herself, seems to be unfair. Somebody should be standing up and accepting accountability. It will feel like it's being brushed under the carpet until this happens. Who was in charge when the decisions were taken? Coming back to the subject of everyone agreeing, the perceptions by survivors of attitudes within the council tell a different tale. Survivors feel that the whole story is not being told, and one can sympathise with such a view given the position of the Labour group in 2018. Linked to this is the view which I agree with, that recent decisions regarding RISE suggest that the council has less of an understanding than it once had of the discrimination, harassment and violence suffered by the city's women and girls, and the legal protections that exist to protect their sex-based rights. To quote what one campaigner stressed to me, there is now a de facto equalities pecking order which leaves the city's females languishing near the bottom. I'm going to just miss a bit and speed up. I think that there are councillors who are happy to publicly back Rise, but who, as Councillor Fishley alluded to, aren't actually as supportive of Rise as they say that they are. And to that end, I was hoping that we could have a very polite and well-mannered debate today, as if we're to get anywhere, it does need to be a debate. There is no point at all in again having back-to-back speakers praising Rise without taking us anywhere closer to finding out what happened and why. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Nemeth.